No response. All right, guys. Whatever that you guys been working on, okay, that we actually have been talk about, okay, this week. All right. We are going to basically be applied the whole kind of process of working there, okay, which is if you guys have been experienced, okay, for the last 2 weeks and recently there, okay, how to control the pressure, line and stroke there, okay, we are going to do the same things for this week, which is, all right, whatever that you guys are going to go through, okay, from this stage, it's all about to create a new habits of developing your kind of skills and design sense at the same time. All right, that's basically the thing that we are going to go through, okay, for the rest of your life, not only for the semesters there, right? Okay, if you start to develop any kind of understanding, when you start to sketch it out your ideas there, okay, you're going to use these new habits of developing your kind of ideas when you draw them, right? Okay, when you draw them. That's basically what we are going to go through. All right, by looking at my demonstrations here, okay, even though I'm using different kind of mediums there, okay, charcoals medium, okay, but if you seems going to use pencils, all right, to develop this exercise, okay, 2B, HB, not HB, okay, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B there, okay, make sure you sharpen your pencils there first, all right, and then when you construct your line, take a look how actually I construct the lines over here. How actually going to start to develop those kind of constructive line, okay, by using those kind of primitive shapes there, okay. Before we're going to draw them, don't just simply draw them, the subject matters, without having the reference, and also to take a look, right, okay, how basically those kind of structures are going to be added into your drawings there, like how actually you're going to move on into one line to another line there, okay. That's basically the thing that you should learn from your observations here. A lot of people always did not basically apply that kind of discipline all the time, okay, because they thought that, right, when they learn something new, maybe okay, some of the different kind of topics or some kind of different kind of images that they have to draw, okay, they always go back into their old habits of working, which is you're going to start redraw back again using your old kind of techniques. If your technique works for our exercise, for our development, is good, all right, but the point is right now, the problem is right now, what if your old habits and your technique that you apply, basically it doesn't work directly? It gives a lot of difficulty for you to understand, especially how to control the pressures, strokes in the right way, which is we can actually do a very light kind of line and stroke before you're going to add more kind of volumes and detail, okay, in our drawings there, okay, to blend it up together there, right, okay. So that's why controlling the strokes is really important. It's not for this exercise only, as I mentioned before, okay, because they're going to be affected your way of working when you're using these tablets here. They will give you a different kind of felt and pressures and experience there, okay, when you work with it. So make sure you guys really okay, focus and concentrate on these developments there, right, because they will be affected even though you're using different kind of tools, mediums, materials there, right, okay, but the methods of working and moving around your kind of line and stroke when you draw them are going to be the same, okay. Not all people are going to go into this kind of process when it comes to explain and develop this kind of understanding here. They just teach you guys basically, right, okay, what kind of shapes you have to do the right way, you have to create and design, work on that, okay, and then how to blend it up the right, okay. But they not actually go into this kind of analytical kind of understanding there, okay. It's hard for me basically also to explain clearly about how it feels there, okay? But when you look basically and how actually I handling all these kind of tools, hopefully you guys can really experience them back again when you start to develop your line, okay? How you hold your pencils or medium that you're going to use there, okay? And try to get a feel how to control the pressures, okay? From time to time there, okay? Don't just simply, okay, when you put your hands on those papers, okay, when you draw, you just simply press according to your emotion or you felt, okay, that you feel angry, you want to make it, those drawing look, what we call that, have a fast kind of result, okay? You want to complete those drawing quite quickly there, okay? You forget all of this kind of aesthetical kind of understanding there, the value of it there, okay? Because if you don't actually focus on those value when you develop that kind of understanding here, that's why you will keep doing drawing, you keep design or illustrate all these kind of drawings quite poorly done there. You not actually get the right kind of satisfaction when you draw them there, okay? And you felt like you find a lot of challenges from there, and you not felt quite very good about it, okay, anymore, okay? And you feel frustrated sometimes. People will frustrated sometimes, okay, all this kind of stuff, okay, because they don't actually look into deep on their kind of inner kind of self-developments from here. Okay, we're not talking about a very fancy, complicated kind of formulas there. It's only about you yourself directly, how you coordinate your eyes, control your mind and hands together directly. But as long when you start to develop and draw and construct this kind of what we call the drawings, don't assume what happens to your subject matter, okay? What type of, how we say the subject matter are going to be look like inside your mind there. Because when you start to imagine, when you start to think, okay, about your subject matter, about the form of your structures, okay, inside your mind, without looking at the paper, without looking at the reference there, you will start to use your imagination there. Your imaginations, your mind are going to play tricks on you. They will say in your mind, okay, the shapes are going to be look like this, okay? You just draw them there, okay? But basically, when you look back again, it's not right, okay? This reference, this is based on our reference that we have. But when I first start draw them, I try to imagine only, but don't use that kind of methods, okay? After that, when I actually figure it out, I have to refer back again. So I look those references, okay? I look back to those references and I try to redraw them, right? Okay? But of course, okay, my measurements at the moment is not that quite accurate, right? But one of the most important thing that you have to learn from here is how actually you're going to control first your hands when you draw. I always emphasize on the controlling those pressure there. Why? Because that's basically one of the key points why you cannot draw right. Not only the measurements, okay, the alignment that we all have to take care later on there, okay, but the most common issues that I look at most of the students here, okay, because the technical issues about the measurement, the alignments, the proportions there, okay, we can learn it from time to time, okay? They're always going to be a lot of lessons that we to go through, right? Okay, even if it's not in my class, but during the process of your kind of journey of experience, learning design, you will learn all this kind of thing technically, right? Okay, back again, okay, but the big issues that I saw for most students, they cannot control their pressures well. And that's why when you saw, okay, some of the students, this from the senior student, okay, from semester 6, even when they want to what we call that graduate and do those final year project, okay, I can saw most of my students who actually doesn't develop that kind of skills here, okay, from the beginning, from the early stage there, right? Okay, they still draw like naive drawing. They still draw like they haven't actually learned about all this kind of technical drawing kind of skill directly from my class, or they don't apply from there, because I'm not the only one who teach you guys about illustration and drawings there. Okay, in graphic design we have Mr. Candy also, okay, who teach you guys. Okay, I think Dr. M also there. Okay, in Introduction to Art, going to be applied also the same method. Okay, maybe a different kind of what we call that exercise that we're going to be go through, but the methods are going to be the same. But the point is, some of the students, they don't actually take it seriously, okay, on this kind of methods, okay. They thought, I don't know what basically they think of, okay, but this is maybe only my assumption, okay, based on my observation there, okay. Maybe they never taught basically this kind of basics or foundations kind of skills. It's not that quite very relevant or importance for these days. But I have to tell you guys one thing, okay? If it is not basically are going to be important, okay, they are not going to put this subject as a part of a core subjects in your syllabus. Okay, in your syllabus here. Simple as that. We don't actually put, because I already, for me, okay, my kind of responsibility, and also my kind of what we call that, concerns. Okay, when I talk to our dean, okay, to our program supervisors, okay, with my colleague, okay, I'm always emphasize on this one. Okay, we need to give student basically, okay, a strong foundation, multimedia, graphic design, okay, about design senses and element of design, drawing skills there, because even though we not actually go into fine arts kind of subject and courses, okay, but the discipline that we are going to give them, the students, will have a very strong impact on their kind of understanding how to develop their self-motivated kind of learning experience later on when they want to learn any kind of discipline there. That's basically I always emphasize, okay, when we have this kind of discussion there, okay. Normally there, okay, because they can see basically, okay, if the student have a very open-minded to develop their skills. Some student, I actually have to tell you guys basically, okay, frankly there, okay, some of the students who actually have the skills, but if they open their mind to a various type of discipline also, they won't get too far, okay, on their kind of journey experience in creative design, okay. So whatever that you guys going to go through from now on, open up your mind efforts to get all the important informations, learning experience in every different kind of subject that you're going to learn there, okay. From there, you will find yourself where you want to go, because when you have opened up your mind, normally you will get some ideas where the directions that you want to go after this, okay. A lot of people doesn't say, okay, I don't know, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do there, okay, until fifth semester, right? Because they only learn but they don't apply. They only learn but they don't actually develop as a part of their lifestyle there, okay. They just learn because they have to, not because they wanted to apply as a part of their kind of hobbies, or maybe, okay, a lifestyle there, okay, that they want to develop from here. That's basically maybe there's a lot of problem from here, okay, because I have to relate it also with my children, okay, my kids there, okay, because when they actually learn something and they don't apply back again from what they do there, okay, they won't be able to enjoy basically the process there, and you won't be able to get a lot of creative ideas to create something new there. Because I also have to relate it with the things that I've done there, okay, because nowadays, as I actually mentioned to you guys before, there's a lot of new application apps there, okay, in our social media that we can use. We edit those kind of video and whatever they want, okay. So when I try to get involved with that kind of experience and understanding, okay, I can find out, okay, I can do a lot of creative things from there. Same goes to the one of the solving problem that we have this morning, okay. If I keep actually looking to the solutions about our Google Classroom, okay, if I don't think creatively, okay, maybe I can use Google Meet only, okay, if I don't try them in different kind of way, experiment and explore them, okay, we still are going to be stuck up with the moments. I'm going to use my phone over there to work, okay, on our classroom there, on our sessions over here. So if you open up your mind to different kind of access on your works, you will find a lot of different solutions there to solve your problem there, okay. This is what we're talking about right now. That's why the foundations of developing your creativities has to be developed from this stage. It's not only learning to draw. I'm not actually teaching you guys learning to draw, okay. Whatever I explain right now, hopefully you guys can relate it later on there, okay. I'm not saying that I have to force you guys to understand, okay. It's a bit cycle like this one there, okay. Because me, okay, from my experience also there, okay, when I was like you guys, I take quite some time to understand, to digest all these kind of informations there, okay. To tell you guys the truth, right, I didn't know also about the layout there, okay. I never heard about the layout, LAYOUT there, okay, when I was like your age there, okay, because I never heard about that kind of what we call that words there, okay, thumbnails, for example, okay, rough sketches there, okay, all this kind of new things for me there, okay. Even the element of design, okay, but I try to relate it every time when I do my exercise. That's why I do a lot of exercise from there, and not focusing on perfections. Never focus on the perfection there first. If you can get that kind of close to your reference, good. But make sure you not spend more times there to nurture the ranking, one single drawings ranking per exercise there. We try to get as not quite quick, but if you can spend more than not more than 1 hour, for example, to do this exercise, at least, okay, not more than 1 hour there. If you spend more than 1 hour, I'm afraid that you might going to be lose a little bit on your energies there, okay. That's why all these exercise that I create, okay, a very fast kind of pace, but not too fast. We still can have our own time, right? Okay? Our own leisure time to open there, okay? Except those kind of 10-second drawings that we did there, okay? Because we want to practice basically our confidence from there, okay? So hopefully you guys can see, okay? This is one of the samples that I actually pre-record back again for your for your reference here. And of course, okay, if you check look, okay, how actually I did some of the demonstrations from, okay, I think this one, right? Okay, from other sessions that we did, okay, on Monday. You guys can see right here. Okay, wait it out. How actually I try to collaborate, okay, my understanding, okay, our kind of what we call the understanding later on by using the digital kind of tools there, but we apply basically the same kind of discipline, okay, by using one single brushes to work with it. Because next week's, okay, for those who actually have basically get those kind of what we call the tablets, okay, for our sessions next week, okay, so you guys can try them first, okay. So the brushes that I use basically is a Cal Ultimate pencil brushes, okay, Cal Ultimate pencil brushes there. So hopefully you guys can check basically that that brushes and try to draw any kind of object that you want to draw, okay, any kind of reference or sample that you want to draw, okay, just to practice your hands, okay. It's not a compulsory for our exercise because our exercise is going to be only 3 drawing for this week. 3 drawing for this week, but manually, okay? Don't use any erasers there to work. Because from what we are going to go through, We are not going to use eraser as a part of our routine to erase our mistakes while we draw. We keep all these kind of basic structures, all right, during our process of developing our illustrations here. Okay. Okay, so far any questions?
No.
All right. So if you don't have any questions there, I want to give you guys, okay, live drawing exercise, okay, that you guys have to do it for yourself there. Right? But before that, have a look. I have basically those my kind of easels over here. All right, I try to find one of the reference that I can use there, okay, to work, okay. But not entirely the same reference. Maybe this one already. Be more better here. But I want to show you guys here, okay, how actually I'm going to develop, okay, different kind of subject matters, but this is not a part of our reference, but I'm going to use it as part of our demos over here. Because if I'm going to do the same kind of demonstrations on the same kind of reference, I will be a bit kind of like off from my kind of what we call that mood, right? Because we keep doing the same. But it's a good, right? It's a good way to develop the same kind of reference in order to develop this kind of perfections there, right? But for our purpose of working with this exercise, okay, I would love to variety my kind of what we call the resources here, okay, to work with it. Okay, let me check whether I can actually write. Okay, open up my ring light over here. So I'm using basically, okay, most of our reference, if you guys take a look there, okay, it's all based on the landscape format there, right? The landscape format there, right? Not portrait format like this one there, right? Okay? So when you actually start to develop your kind of exercise on your A4 papers there, okay, make sure you change your format of your sketchbooks, okay, or your papers, okay, from portrait into landscape there, okay. There's two different kind of format, okay. You have to understand that, right? Let me check. This is also a good reference over here, but I'm going to use them later on for other classes. All right, I tried to find a picture of skulls there, okay, but unfortunately there, okay, even though my Google just now also hang there, okay, this one there, I don't know why. So they won't basically, right, you see here, my Google also hang, okay. I don't know whether I have to change my Google Chrome. I don't want to, okay, because at the moment, if I want to change to the new Google Chrome there, okay, I have to figure out all my emails back again there, okay. That's why I not try to change at the moment. See. All right, guys. Okay. So I will draw basically the skulls, a composition of these elements over here. Okay, but this is basically is not a real images. This is basically a painting there, okay. So it's not quite suitable basically for our studies there, but I have to show you guys actually how it works. Okay, how basically construct basically the line at the same time there, okay. So check basically, okay, I have recording here. Now, hopefully I can open up everything. But of course, from these kind of positions, it'd be kind of hard for me basically to draw directly. I try hard enough actually. Okay. So now, when you look at those kind of skulls directly, the skull itself, right? What you're going to do first, okay? You can see the horizontal kind of line directly, which is the platform directly of the tables over here, the tabletop directly. So normally, when we start to draw, okay, don't forget to draw the horizontal kind of line, okay? Horizontal kind of line that define between what we call that the ground and also the background there, okay? And after that, when you get those kind of lines over here, I don't know whether you can see from there, okay? Right now, a very light kind of line, I guess. Don't press too much when you draw that. Okay? So I'm going to start to draw basically the circle kind of shape there, okay, of the skull there. But a little bit kind of oval, a little bit from here. I'm going to draw this, not the center point. This is the center point, okay? I'm going to roll over the center point into the right side of here, okay? Of the structures over there, okay? And then, if you take a look here, okay, from these directions, you guys can see from here, to press a little bit there, right? So I'm going to draw basically those kind of the shapes of those, right? Put over here directly, using the boxes directly or cubes. After that, there is a, I don't know what I see over here, fruit directly or seed directly. And then there is also shell directly over here, oval, and also a little bit more like a cone there, okay, kind of shapes there, right, over there. And there is a leaf there, okay, a dry leaf. Okay, the dry leaf basically, okay, when you draw the line of those leaves there, right. It's going to be complex a little bit, but I'm going to draw the shapes of it first, the overall shapes here. Okay. I know the drawings are not going to be too accurate already because I tried not to, what we call that, get too much kind of detailings. Okay. So draw something from what you see from here. So you got basically the whole structures, right? The whole structures of these compositions there. So right now your job is to cut down the shape directly of the structure. So where basically this part is going to be right here. I'm going to cut it over here. Check out how actually I managed to draw them, guys. Okay. So if you have, okay, you have to basically figure it out also how to draw the feet kind of shapes there. And then this part over here basically, right? The whole of those, what we call the skulls over here. And this part also at the same time. Okay. So all this kind of, we call that understanding when you develop them, right? Try to get as close as you can the compositions that fits. All right, the compositions that fits before you're going to add more kind of details. That's why I didn't give you guys these subject matters because they're going to be complex a little bit. Okay? But It's good for your practice if you want to try to develop basically your kind of understanding. Okay. So what you should do basically, okay, from this stage is try to figure out the compositions here. Right, composition steps. So if you're checking right now, okay, when I draw that, okay, I always look at my reference here. And that's basically the discipline that we're going to go through right here. I'm always try to develop that kind of discipline by looking at my reference all the time when I draw this. Okay, from here, I'm going to cut it over right here, okay. Right, the leaf, the dry leaf kind of shapes it. The line, the form basically this kind of areas there. And carefully draw this part right here at the same time. If you guys cannot see clearly, okay, maybe I'm going to, what we call that, send it over back again later on, okay, in our Google Drive, if I can access them back. Right, the basic structure, even though the proportion it doesn't look right here, okay. So this is basically one of the most important kind of what we call that process there, okay. While you draw, always learn to understand about your mistakes there. I'm not talking about, as I told you guys, not talking about all the perfections all the time there, right, okay. But we learn to develop our understanding, okay, what are the mistakes that we have done from here, okay. That's basically one of the most important thing when we draw them. And of course, if you look at how actually I draw right here, okay, by facing on the screen and looking back again to my easel that I can and look at those reference, they are basically very challenging kind of what we call that experience there, okay. So because I'm not actually draw straight ahead to draw based on my reference. If my reference over here, okay. But when you guys draw, you guys can do that, okay. Because if you use your sketchbooks, you have your kind of reference in front of you. It's more easy for you to draw, okay. Because the directions of our positions are going to be a little bit more direct, okay. But right now, I just want to show you guys basically how actually construct those kind of line there, okay, to work on that. So not press too much when you draw them. Not press too much when you draw them, okay. Even though you want to add some of the rendering for those shadings over here, there, right? Can you see here? Okay, rendering for the shadings, okay, for the shadows there. But don't render too much there, okay, guys. Don't render too much until you cannot actually do some sort of correction from there. Okay. Normally, if you want to do some corrections, we're going to use erasers, but not to erase our drawings here. But what we try to do basically is just to edit basically some highlights from here, okay. So render carefully, okay, when you draw them, right? This one, and then render it a little bit right here. If you use pencil, okay, you guys can those kind of tip of your pencil just to blend it up there, right? Okay, to blend it up there first. Okay. So, what are the good thing about charcoal there, okay, or compressed charcoal? You guys can basically what we call that, use different kind of positions there to blend it up there, right? To blend it up there. So those are the good thing about charcoal, so, okay, or compressed charcoal, okay. Yeah, use the cursor to draw them, okay. Don't draw a circle like this, huh? Okay, draw a few number kind of rotations there, right? Okay, when you draw them, relax there, right? Just like you rubbing basically when you want to rubbing some of the lotions basically, right, okay, for your skin there, okay. So use this kind of position movement that to work on that. Even though you want to draw boxes, for example, there, okay, repeat the lines there, okay, but make it very consistent kind of movements. Okay, those are the things that. All right. So from this what we call that sketches that I did right now, okay, rough kind of studies right now, okay, I did not basically focus a lot on the perfections over here, guys. If you guys can see right here. Okay, I did not actually focus on the perfections yet. I just basically, okay, just go through with it and study basically the whole things. And of course, if you have to check back again the alignment, okay, between the positions of every single form, okay, while basically you develop the sketches of those compositions there. Right? Break down the compositions there, okay? The elements of those compositions. This is where you want to go from there. Okay, that's where you actually going to get from there, okay? So right now you can see this is basically my rough kind of sketches, rough studies based on those references there. Don't add too much kind of what we call the detailings when you start to develop, okay, because the process of developing our understanding there, okay, a lot of people always thought, okay, when they start to draw one single drawings or one single kind of project, okay, they're going to be looked as a part of their masterpiece. All right, they thought, okay, this is my masterpiece, okay. One of the best things that you should do, the process of working, okay, make it as a part of your rough studies there. This is basically our first studies, okay. Study number 1, for example, in your sketchbook, when you start to beginning to understand about the whole compositions, then either you can add more details on the same drawings, or you can do another one basically in the next page there, right? Okay? That's how you actually can grow more on your kind of what we call it skills, and also your kind of experience and detailing there, okay? Because all the exercise that we did is all about how to develop your experience from here. Don't look into one drawing as a part of those masterpieces, okay, all the time. Because nothing is precious there, okay, from this stage. Nothing is precious there, okay. The only things, the value that you add from your exercise is your kind of understanding here. That's basically more valuable than what you're going to produce right here. Okay? This is only the process, but of course we have to appreciate them. Don't throw away your sketchbooks or your sketches, okay? No matter how ugly they're going to be there, because that's basically the process that you're going to look back again, how far basically you guys have gone from here. Okay, and you guys have gone from here. So that's how actually it goes. Okay, guys. So I have a few number kind of charcoals here. This is basically charcoal sticks, right? Okay? Charcoal stick normally we use basically for the background, for the shadings, right? So I actually love using charcoal, right? Because they give a different kind of effects, okay, on your works here. But it's very rough sometimes, but it can be detailed there. So depending how basically the person basically going to use them, okay, and how basically you're going to focus on that, okay, because using these charcoal sticks, right, okay, you guys can actually blend it up. Normally people can use also some like a tissue there, okay, if you don't want to make your hands dirty there, okay. It's up to you guys how it works. So basically what I'm going to do, only a rough kind of drawings, okay, show you guys how they construct the line at the same time. Okay? The composition basically can be improved, okay? The perspective, the proportions can be improved from time to time, right? But the important thing that you have to understand is how actually you're going to basically control your line while you draw them, okay? And try to get the compositions right. every single detail, like if you see, okay, there's a patterns, okay, from those shells, okay. You guys can draw them later on if you want to. But for me, I just draw as a part of my suggestions only. My suggestions only there. Okay. That's how it looks. Okay, guys, any questions? No? Okay, if you don't have any questions there, guys, okay, I want you guys to spend around half an hour there, okay? 11:30, we're going to get back again. If you want to share your screens, anyone want to share your screens during the sessions here, during your kind of process of drawings, okay? You guys can share them, okay? I want you guys to draw and choose from our reference, those 3 different kind of, what we call that reference that we have there, okay? I want you to start to draw them in your sketchbooks, and then send it over back again, and don't forget to record maybe 20 or 30 seconds how actually you construct your line before you add those details, okay, into our group WhatsApp. Okay, into our group WhatsApp, okay. Everyone should submit them first in our group WhatsApp, okay, after half an hour. I want to see how actually you're going to go. If you not actually complete them, don't worry there, because you only have not more than half an hour to work on that, right? I want to see the process of working there, okay? The process of how actually you develop those kind of drawings there. All right? So go for it right now. So we're going to meet back again in 11:30 there, okay? All right, see you guys then. Anyone want to share your screen? Please let me know there. If you take a look right now when I draw that, okay, I'm using basically back again our contour line drawing techniques at the same time, okay, to mix it up with those kind of what we call that my methods of drawing and rendering at the same time. So I never basically, okay, avoid using the techniques, the method that we supposed to use, okay, because those basically the what we call that the methods that we learn basically from the early stage, we always going to use them, okay, when we draw, right? I saw one of my friend, okay, from UITM, okay, he actually teaching over there, okay. When he started to draw also his inking on comics, we still actually apply the same thing, okay, because a lot of people doesn't actually figure it out, right? That methods are going to be applied all the time when we draw them, or we want to complete our drawings there, or during the process of developing our drawings there. A lot of people doesn't actually realize that, okay, they thought, okay, they learn different kind of techniques, they learn different kind of way of working, but it's basically it's not. We're still doing the same thing. We still actually apply the contour line drawing process, the gestures line drawing process, and also we still apply also the what we call that the sketch line drawing exercise, what we call the techniques to work on that, okay? If you click on what basically I actually have been show you guys before in our basically in our lecture class, okay, about the normal stroke, cross hatching, circular shadings, okay, dot shadings. I'm applying all these kind of elements all together, all these kind of techniques together, okay? There's no such way basically we're going to avoid them. We're still going to use them all the times. So don't think that, okay, whatever that we're going to learn is not going to be whatever you guys been experienced. we're not going to be applied them back, okay, in our lessons here. We're still actually going to apply them all the times. Okay, guys? So let's get started there. Or you want to share your show? Okay, good. All right. There's a good try over here. All right. Check back again those compositions later on there, right? Okay. And adding some of the details there.
So can you present the reference again? I can
The
see
reference there. Okay. Everyone can see the screen there, right? Don't press too much when you actually want to add some shadows there, right? Okay. Especially on the cast shadows, okay, on the ground there. So if you press too much, later on you won't be able to blend it up nicely there. Okay? Even though charcoal can be used or pencil can be used, okay, to blend it up, okay. Okay. When you draw this constructive line, are you using rulers?
Yes, yes.
Don't use rulers, eh?
Okay, don't use it.
Don't use ruler, guys, okay? Because we are not actually learn, even though architect students, right, okay, when they actually start to develop the foundation sketch, they don't use rulers, guys. They only use rulers when it comes to their technical kind of drawings, when they start to learn technical drawings there, okay? But when you do those buildings, okay, whatever that you're going to do from your earlier foundation sketches, we don't use erasers there, okay? I can share with you guys. Can I actually close this reference? Can right?
Can.
Use those old reference, the reference that we should use. Okay, thank you, there, right? So I want to share with you guys here. Landscapes sketches, there, right? From sketchbooks. Sketchbooks, there, okay. Of buildings, there, right? But if you click it, some of the sketches here, there, okay. Most of the sketches over here, not the comic styles, there, okay. But I don't know why basically those things. If I'm going to click basically in Google, also quite slow there, right? I think there's a problem over here, which I cannot access Google efficiently there, right? Maybe they want to force me to change into the new Google Chrome there. if you look at the landscape city sketchbooks, people actually draw those landscape there, right? Okay? They're not basically using rulers that you okay. Can you see this one there? Okay? You guys can see this guy there, okay? Justin Hung there, right? Sketches. Right. We don't actually use rulers there, okay, to draw those. All these kind of buildings there. So by right, when you want to start your works, okay, when you draw this kind of cylinders line there, all right, can you draw one straight line?
One straight line.
One straight line there, right? Okay, the horizontal kind of lines, okay, for this hexagon, right? We both can share the screen, right? So if we can share the screen, both of us, right? Okay, let me show you guys here. Okay, if I want to draw this one, okay, I'm using the reference over here. How to draw this hexagon, okay? I will start with oval kind of shapes, right? Oval kind of shape, right? Then I'm going to cut it right here. And I draw this. Okay. And then I'm going to draw the straight line. Try to draw the straight line like this, guys. Okay? Can you see that? Everyone can see that, right? Draw the straight line like that. Okay? And then you start to render them out. Okay? So I'm using, just now basically I'm using Ultimate Ink brushes, but basically what we're going to do, we're going to work right with these brushes over here. I have to blend it out. Okay. If I'm using pencils, right, blend it out, okay? I'm using a circle kind of, what we call that blended, right? Some people, okay, they ask me, can I draw using cross-hatching? Yes, can, okay, but sometimes cross-hatching will be a bit kind of what we call that difficult for you to understand, okay? Especially when you, cross-hatching kind of techniques, okay, avoid basically, right, using more than 3 different kind of hatching kind of directions. Okay, cross-hatching sometimes can be, for example, like this one there, right? When you draw those circles there, okay, when you add those shadows there, I'm using one single strokes over here, but I'm ripping those movements there, right? But if you want to make a cross-hatchings using one different directions there, right? See, like this is the 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to repeat them, and I'm going to make a cross-hatching in different kind of directions there to add a bit kind of volumes of tone. Okay, but if you combine that with different kind of stroke like this one, okay, sometimes they've been kind of disasters of your rendering there, right? If you're not actually doing well. So be careful with it when you start to draw them. You might as well combine only 1 or 2 what we call that directions of strokes there first, and then slowly you can actually manage to draw, okay, to cross over those kind of tails, right? When you start to get used with the to control basically those kind of what we call that pressures there, right? Okay, it's all about controlling the pressures there, guys. By not try to draw too much, right, on those kind of what we call that mixed up those kind of line there, right, all together there. See, it's all about controlling the pressures there. So same goes to this one. If you want to do some cross hatching, yes, you can. Right? One single strokes over here, and then mix them up there, right? but they're going to be blended over there. Okay, they're not going to be obviously going to be have a cross-hatching kind of methods over here. You zoom out, maybe you guys can see from there. So on top of all this kind of understanding and experience, okay, normally we can actually mix them up there. Don't limit yourself to do only one single kind of strokes all the time there, okay. Blend it up, okay, together, okay, with different kind of methods, and then see the difference from there, okay. So when you start to draw this basically cone there, right, where you start first normally, right, okay, always start with the oval kind of shapes there, right? And then start with the center point, okay, and complete those kind of lines over here. When you use those pencil or charcoal, it's more easy for you to draw those lines over here, right? I'm still practicing myself to draw those kind of lines using basically this tablets here, especially in diagonal line there, right? Same goes to the cylinders over here, okay? Draw this oval can shape, okay? A lot of people make some mistake, okay? They draw like this one, okay? That's, if you draw like this, redraw back again, because you're not looking in the right way there, okay? This basically is a shapes of oval there, okay? And then draw those cylinders line there, okay? Those vertical line to add those cylinders there. And when you actually write, try to blend it up there, okay? Shadings. Either you can actually write roll over this the circling kind of shadings, or you can actually write slowly, okay, render them up like this one, okay? Movement, up and down movement, okay? Vertical kind of movements there, render. But slowly, don't press too much like this one, okay? Slowly, right, render them up, right? But using this kind of tablets and digitals, you can actually adjust the flows there. And adjust the flow there. Don't adjust the transparency or opacities there, adjust the flows there. And you can actually control it more further on your shadings. Okay? Same goes to this one there, right? You check again basically, right, the light and also the core shadows that will appear on these subject matters there. There's also as a textures over here that apply the reflections kind of light and shadows right here. Same goes to this part there, right? So don't just blend everything like this one there, okay? Without looking at your reference there, okay? Carefully blend them according to those references there, right? Of course, when you use digital, okay, sometimes people thought, okay, digital is quite easy, but if you don't actually apply the same discipline as you actually learn to draw in traditional, okay, you still won't be able to get it right. You still actually make a lot of major mistakes there from there. Because why? Because you don't actually apply your kind of sense of sensitivity when you draw those. You just simply draw by assuming the shapes, okay, whether the shape is right or not, right? So that's basically the common kind of general kind of mistakes that people always do. They look into all this kind of reference as a perfections kind of object that they should actually apply exactly what they saw, okay? Yes, of course, but the problem is right now, you're assuming what you saw, okay? You're not actually look carefully on what you see and it's transfer into your drawings over here. You're just assuming them, right? That's why you still doesn't make it right, and you don't actually add the volume of tone that you should apply from these drawings over here, right? Volume of tones over here, I mean, if you want to draw them back there, right? Okay. This one there, right? I can add the volume of tone but not press too much there. But I can mix them up all together there. So, as I actually had mentioned to you guys before, okay, when you start to work with digitals, it's supposed to make your drawing look more better than traditional. Remember that. So if you cannot actually make it your drawing more better from your traditional kind of skills, there has to be something wrong with your kind of methods, tactic, and your kind of understanding from your experience doing those kind of traditional medias there. That's why develop those kind of understanding in traditional media there first. Later on, when you work with these kind of technologies, you won't be able to have a lot of difficulty to apply them back, because you know basically your kind of limitations, and you try to make those limitations become a bit more advantage for you to develop more kind of understanding with your kind of illustrations there. I can see your screen there. Can you see the hexagon kind of lines? A bit kind of like, the line is a bit kind of like wavy there, right? Okay, try to get a straight line there.
Okay.
Change the way you move your hands or you hold your pencils there. Don't press too much. Don't press too much there. All right, if you take a look how actually I draw those hexagon right here, there, right? Okay, take a look, guys. Okay, I draw the circle like this one, the oval kind of shapes, and then I draw the straight line there, right? Okay, straight line there, right? Okay, like a cylinder kind of line there, right? And draw another circles over here. So from there, right, I draw the diagonal line on the basic structures right here, and break down into another part, okay? One, two, three, 4 parts, okay? And draw another straight line over here. Okay, the vertical line there, right? And the horizontal line there, okay? And I break down the shapes there. Yeah. Okay. Same goes to this part there. And then start to blend it up. Okay? Start to blend it up there, right? Okay? Hexagon kind of shapes. Okay? Draw the straight line like this one, okay? Practice them, right? Okay? Draw the straight line. An oval kind of shapes there. Oval kind of shape, okay? Oval kind of shape, okay? Every time when you draw them, okay, be sure you draw the oval shape, okay? Don't draw like this one, right? Because you might going to get it wrong. But try to get the oval kind of shape there first to confirm the platform of your kind of object that you want to draw, right? Okay? And then try to figure it out on the top again, and then you start to blend it out. Okay. So it's really important for you to learn to develop this kind of structures and strokes there, okay, when you draw. Okay, from here. So don't develop the basic structures, the constructive kind of line when you start to draw your subject matters here. Even though you want to draw from here, okay, you want to bend any other kind of shape, okay, like from small circles of oval to the big circles, okay, to draw those kind of like shells, that's all right. You bend it up there, shapes. So all this kind of understanding has to be applied when you start to draw them right here. Don't try to avoid drawing all this kind of basic constructive line there, okay, when you draw them. Okay, it's really important for you to apply from this stage there, okay? Because if you don't apply them, okay, you will be able to get very kind of what we call that a good kind of understanding when you start to draw human face using this kind of basic structures line over here. I always emphasize on this one, guys, okay? To draw this. Okay? So if you want to draw this subject matters here, there, okay, to become, for example, a robot that maybe in the futures, okay, start with all these kind of basic structures, guys. Right. When you saw, okay, any kind of robot that you want to draw there, they came with this kind of basic structure, guys. I can draw Ultraman right here. Okay. Using this kind of basic structures there. So robots or whatever that you want to draw directly in the futures will came from the structures at the same time. Any characters that you want to draw, any kind of what we call the things that you want to draw in this world directly, they came with all these kind of basic structures. Without understanding all these kind of structures directly, that's why your drawings look a bit more stiff, not naturally done directly, and then you feel a little bit kind of naive back again when you draw those. Okay, you're not actually apply the professional kind of looks there. Okay, when it comes to develop your understanding from here. That's why we try to overcome them back. Okay, overcome them back when you draw this. See, I actually apply back again all the methods that we use, okay, like contour line drawings, sketch line drawings, okay, in this compositions of characters there, okay, the robot characters. Every single object in this world you want to draw came from the basic structures, the form directly, the primitive form directly, and primitive kind of objects directly. Okay? That's how it goes. Then to draw the line well directly. start to draw the oval shapes there first, or at the back of those cylinders, and then you cut them into the hexagon.
Like this.
The same amount of volume and sizes, okay? Front and bottom should be, front and back are going to be the same there. And you break down back again using the same kind of directions of your breakdown on those horizontal line of the shapes there, right? Okay, like this one that I draw just now there. Basically, I break down the shapes over here. Basically, those oval kind of shape that based on the same, and I break down the shapes using the horizontal kind of line there, right? Based on the perspective of these structures over here from the reference. Yes, something like that, right? Okay, good. It's not that hard, guys. Okay, if you apply all this kind of routine back again, when you actually beginning to understand, okay, and try to open up basically your kind of thought of changing your old routine into the new one, okay, it's not going to be hard, guys. They're going to be more easy for you to access later on to any different kind of drawings later on. Okay, so always develop the new routine to changing the way you method of working there, okay? You will find a lot of joy from there, right? But don't go back into your old way of working there, okay? If you find your old way of working is not going to be work for you there, okay? Don't try to go back there, okay? Maybe later on, maybe you have developed more understanding. You can basically just, for example, sometimes I love to draw something like this one, right? Okay, for example, over here, let's just say I'm going to draw some loose kind of characters, right? When I want to draw some loose characters, one of the characters that I draw before the writing, okay, I draw loose characters like this sometimes. Okay. Very loose characters, guys. But purposely, I've done all these kind of loose characters because of the styles that I want to produce there again. It's not a kappa, but I don't know what is it. Okay, it is zombie or whatever. But one of the reasons I draw this kind of loose characters because I want to get away from all the different kind of what we call that normal kind of routine that I used to draw and focus a lot on those kind of detailing, right? Okay, but I'm still actually applying some of the detailing, but I'm using basically a variety kind of line works from here. You see that? Okay. Use a lot of line there, but variety kind of line. But really, I have a very loose kind of what we call that line over here, but I mix them up all together. Okay. So people can still basically appreciate those kind of aesthetical kind of understanding right here. even though I draw like this one there, right? Because they know basically, right, okay, I'm doing it on the purpose there, okay, not just simply draw without not having enough kind of directions there on my works there. So when you have that kind of good kind of understanding, whatever that you're going to do, okay, they have basically a different kind of purpose there, and the purpose that you actually try to adapt it, right, okay, and to visualize them, to portray them, people start not arguing them anymore. They will accept it, whatever that you're going to be thrown over on the tables, right? But people still will ask you some of the questions, right? Okay, normal, right? Okay, why actually draw like this one? Get the characters draw like this one. Those are normal things, right? Okay? Some people will critique your works, they right? Okay, or you can draw better. Why you draw like this one, for example, right? Okay, so you have that kind of answers there, okay, that you're going to be share with your audience directly. So if I have this kind of loose kind of what you call styles, sometimes give me more kind of different kind of experience there. And I really have that kind of freedom for me to choose. Okay. So draw from my imaginations. At the same time, I have that kind of good kind of what we call that motivations that to work according to what I want basically for my illustrations there. Right. Okay. Even though it looks okay, but they contain basically a very good kind of understanding, okay, on what basically you're going to apply. Like I still applying basically some contour line right here, there, guys, see? But it's a part of those sketch line. Of this kind of illustration or these characters that works. See? I can apply basically, okay, whatever that I want, right, just to give more kind of advantage for me, okay, to work with my kind of ideas there. So they give you more advantage and more options for you guys to work. So if you thought, okay, you want to draw based on your kind of whatever that you have in mind, right now I draw whatever that I have in mind right now. Okay, using all the methods that and techniques that we have been learning before. Contour line drawing, sketch line drawings there, a gestus line drawing at the same time. Okay, I mix them all together there, okay, to develop one different kind of characters over here. And I'm not actually just what we call that, give basically only an options to draw only anime, manga kind of style. Okay, I can actually design whatever that I want basically, okay, according what I need basically, okay, for in time, okay, without having enough kind of what we call that kind of stress, okay, or argument there, okay, whether I have to do some sort of like impressive kind of works if I draw manga only, okay, no, there, okay. we have a lot of options to design and to develop our kind of creative kind of understanding here, guys. Yeah. Okay. I can add more kind of detailing if you not actually press too much on your line. So I can add more kind of detailings, okay, on my own design here. This is basically from one of my previous kind of logo character design that I did, icon design that I made for one of the movements, right? Independent kind of movements, right? They call Syndicate Soldier. Okay, that's it. Don't forget to put in your dates. Okay, and maybe your names over here. So that's basically, okay, whatever that you guys been go through right now is a process of to develop your strong foundations. You saw some of the things that I've been showing you guys before. Develop your strong foundation there, okay, at this stage. So when you learn them, improvise and try to level up during your time there, okay, to develop your own kind of skills from here. Okay, not only the purpose to serve your assignments there, right? But the purpose that you're going to do there, okay, that we try to apply right here to find your kind of voice, your own voice in visualize your works. Okay, your voice in visualizing your works, hey guys. Okay. Can I see your kind of what we call that? Your kind of result from this exercise in WhatsApp, right? Quite slow there, right? The Google, I don't know why. Okay, this is one of the demos that I saw there, okay, from one of the YouTubers there, okay. The daily gesture drawings is a very good kind of demonstrations, okay, from this lady, I think, right? How basically she controlling the line and stroke at the same time, like using those pencils like that. You guys can check them, right? Okay. Sorry. I'm going to leave basically those links over here. You guys can see, okay, sometimes we don't have to add a lot of details on our drawings there, okay, on our drawings there, just to add a bit kind of focus on some of the parts areas on the human structures and body at the same time when you want to develop basically those gestures line there, right? It's very good kind of exercise in order for you to get the right kind of strokes and confidence at the same time. Okay. All right, group 2 there, okay? Send it over your kind of drawings right here. Thank you there, Yushong, for your sharing, okay? Okay, send it over those kind of results from here. I have another session later on 12 o'clock. Nathaniel, are you here? And Jia?
Sir, I'm here.
Jia is here. Nathaniel's. Are you here, Nathaniel's? Not here, right? Hopefully, you guys can inform Nathaniel there, right? Okay. Hopefully, he don't actually enter different kind of code. All right, this one from a good kind of tried, okay, but the cylinders doesn't look right over here. All right, but good explorations, okay, for the first start, all right. Okay, you're using technical pencils there, right?
Yes, because I haven't sharpened my 2B pencil.
Right, see there, right? Okay, right. You check back again the cylinders over here, right? Okay, the cylinders doesn't look right, okay. You see the straight line there, okay, when you draw them, okay. But it's a good kind of try, right, for the short times. The very short times here we have. All right, write the dates, guys. Okay, write the dates when you draw them. When basically you have drawn them there, right? Draw the cylinder there first. Okay, this one, draw the platform of those flat surface on those cube, okay, on the square before you draw the triangle there, okay. Then you will get it right from there. You saw those videos, okay, just watch those videos back again. All right. Okay, some of the line work has to be improved a bit more further right here there, okay. Make it more confidence on the line works over there, right? Okay. But it's a good try there, right? Okay, it's a good try there. So please share basically, okay, your kind of sketches, okay, during the process of working in this WhatsApp group there, guys, okay. And then later on, when you submit them, submit also whatever that you guys been show you me on this kind of WhatsApp into your Google Classrooms, okay, on Sunday. Any questions? Including those videos that I still can access I think I can access in my phone directly, but I can access right here directly. So I think sometimes I have to work on that. So hopefully both today, maybe I'm going to lack of those kind of access on Google Classrooms. But you guys can check back again, okay, all this kind of reference. Okay, this is some of the sample, okay, of drawing buildings without using any rulers there. Okay, they don't use rulers. Like, don't use rulers. Don't use also erasers. Okay, in order to draw them. Can you see there? Okay, how you draw the circle there? I'm not drawing the circle like this one, there, guy. Okay. Please don't draw the circle like this, right? Okay. Draw the circle in one single. Repeat the line. Okay. When you draw the circles, but drawing in more confidence there. Don't draw with the hesitations there, okay? Hesitate, okay, when you draw the circles there. So improve your line works over here. Okay, Junwei? You try to draw, what is it, a cone, right? Draw the oval kind of shape for the platform first. Draw the center point of those lines, all right? The middle kind of line, okay, that they actually reconstruct basically those cone there, okay? And then draw the right and left side there, right? Of those shapes there. Okay? So please share basically, okay, I'm going to take a look back again later on, all right? And then see you guys, okay, for the next sessions. Please don't forget to update, okay, in our YouTube, basically, okay, on my demonstrations, right? So check back again how actually I work on it, on those kind of structures line over here. and hopefully you guys, okay, get something important, okay, some valuable kind of understanding, okay, on informations on our sessions over here. And I'll see you guys back again next week. And don't delay your exercise at the same time there, guys. All right. So thank you very much. If you don't have any questions, all right, take good care of yourself. At the same time, okay, have a good rest, and please update with me on your kind of developments there, okay, from here. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Thank you,
Welcome,
sir.
there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome.